President of the Human Rights Council, High Commissioner for Human Rights, Excellencies, distinguished delegates. At the outset, the African Union congratulates the Kingdom of Morocco for assuming the presidency of this august Human Rights Council. Presently, Africa faces a multiplicity of complex challenges and pervasive threats, ranging from growing terrorism and violent extremism to unconstitutional changes of government, protracted conflicts, and the impact of climate change on peace and security. These threats all negatively affect the full realization of the body of rights, including the right to development. The protocol establishing the Peace and Security Council of the African Union eloquently asserts that the observance of human rights and the rule of law is essential for the promotion of collective security, durable peace, and stability on the continent. President of Council, distinguished delegates, on this note, the promotion and protection of human rights remain topmost priority for the African Union. The African Court on Human and People's Rights and the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, two major leading AU organs, serve as the beacons of hope for the African people. The evolving rich jurisprudence of the African Court especially has been trailblazing and covers all the generations of rights. Let me also, at this point, commend the government and people of South Africa for being equivocal in support to the Palestinian cause and for defending the rights of all Palestinian people in the face of the onslaught by Israel on Gaza. The case demonstrated by South Africa at the International Court of Justice is to continue to prevent genocide in Palestine or in any part of our world. Excellencies, through Agenda 2063, particularly Aspirations 3 and 4, the African Union is taking actions towards the promotion of democratic governance and the strengthening of democratic institutions by upholding constitutionalism, the rule of law, citizens' participation, and ensuring that all have access to political service. The African Union also promotes social accountability and transparency through the joint implementation of the African Governance Architecture and the African Peace and Security Architecture. The year 2024 marks the 20th anniversary of the establishment of the African Union Peace and Security Council, through which the safeguarding of human rights remains a critical component for conflict prevention and conflict resolution. Also, in 2024, the heads of state of the African Union have declared this year as the year of education in Africa, with the theme to educate an African fit for the 21st century. Therefore, building the Africa we want must solidly be anchored on inclusive, quality, lifelong education, which necessarily translates to the right to education. The African Union considers the right to development as one of its topmost strategic priorities. The Constitutive Act of the Union stipulates that member states should undertake to promote political and socio-economic integration of our continent. But this will only happen in the conditions where peace reigns. Therefore, the significance of the right to peace, the right to development, embodies a comprehensive approach to the realization of human dignity and human security. The African Union is convinced that the right to development is composite, holistic, and interrelated with all other rights because it is people-centered. The principles to the right to development requires the equal opportunity to be given to all peoples for access to basic resources, education, health services, food, housing, employment, and the fair distribution of income. As noted in the 2019 report on the right to development in Africa by the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, the right to development is a fundamental right that it is essential for the means of promoting the respect of all other rights and promoting a direct, decent life for all. I appreciate the partnership, particularly between the African Union and the UN system through the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights to foster the discourse on this right. It is for this reason that we in the African Union continue to appreciate the joint framework for enhanced partnership with the UN in peace and security, and as well for the implementation of Agenda 2063. Likewise, the African Compliance Framework on Human Rights in Peace Support Operations is another framework that will work with the UN in other areas of mainstreaming human rights in continental early warning. Excellencies, as I conclude, I want to underscore that 15 African countries will hold presidential, legislative, and general elections in 2024. This is a fervent testimony to exercise the right to vote, particularly for women and youth in our political processes. Consequently, unconstitutional changes of government serve as a gross denial of citizens' right to vote. Thus, the African Union remains absolutely steadfast in condemnation of all forms of undemocratic means to power. It is therefore necessary to reiterate our zero tolerance in the Union for unconstitutional changes of government. Let me invite you all, the international community, this Council, to continue to work collaboratively with the African Union in finding a balanced approach to promoting simultaneously political and civil rights along with economic, social, and cultural rights in response to the challenges we face on our continent. I thank you.